Good morning, I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. And today I'm going to show you how to make an arrowhead out of this. I'm no expert, I just started doing this, but I've learned a few little tips and tricks along the way, and I thought I would share those with you. So stay with me, I'll show you some of the tools we're going to use, and then we'll get into making this glass arrowhead. Okay, first let's talk a little bit about safety. Some good eyewear, some good protection will save the eyes, and that's something you definitely don't want to have a problem with. I use welder's gloves, they work real well. Later on we're going to attach one of these to a point so I have a little sinew, and inside these old coffee bags here I have some pine resin and a little bit of rabbit droppings. We have our glue that we made earlier on this week, and also some melted pine resin here in this tin. We'll get a little fire going, and after we make our arrowhead we'll get into the hafting a little bit. Now right here I have a piece of plumbing pipe that I bought from a local home improvement store, and I believe it's a water hammer. It eliminates water hammers, but it's a piece of copper that was rounded on the end already. It has nice weight to it. I'll show you how I use that. This is simply a piece of copper pipe with a round cap on it and one end bent flat in a vise. I use that. I bought a bolt to use to break the glass bottles, but that didn't work too well. And then here I have an oak dowel rod with a copper rod driven into the end of it. Also, from my primitive tools, I have my arrowhead, or I'm sorry, my white-tailed deer horn is a flaker. I have an abrading stone, a hammer stone, and this is another stone that I use for abrading. This is a small rubber pad. This was actually a piece of material left over from replacing a floor in a gym, and of course a beer bottle. First tip, when you're looking at your beer bottles, try to find one with the flattest bottom that you can. The curvature in the bottom of that has to come out for the arrowhead to actually fly right, and the less you start with, the less you have to remove, and all beer bottles are not created equal. You'll need some rags and towels and a soft surface to work on, and of course for the initial breaking you're going to need some type of a drop cloth or something to collect all of this glass, because you don't want all of that laying around. Alright, let's get together and our materials and knock the bottom out of this bottle. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to get the bottom out of the beer bottle. Now there's two ways that I found that are most effective to do this. One is to simply cover it with a t-shirt and to take a hammer and strike the bottle in the middle here. Now right in here and on a glancing blow is where I seem to have the most success of getting the entire bottom out. The other method that I found on YouTube was to take a large carpentry framing nail and drop it head side down. Put your thumb over the end of the bottle and simply shake it up and down. Now they said to use caution, make sure you're not swirling it, that it's tapping up and down, and that will knock the bottom out just around this thick rim. Okay, once your bottom is out, you're going to wind up possibly with something that looks kind of like this. And what we need to do now is to remove all of these jagged sides and get down to just a nice round disc. And you can do that by simply taking this round piece of copper bullet here and just starting to tap it. Now the trick to this was keeping this down and at a very slight angle and striking right here, and not trying to take off too much at a time. Okay, I realize the sun and the shadows are really giving us a fit here, but I wanted to show you just a moment how you take this and hold it at a slight angle and go around and just strike the edge of that lip, slowly turning, and see this stuff that's coming off is almost just a powder. There are flakes and chips in it, but you just want to go slow and keep turning this piece of glass, and eventually you're going to start coming down and striking at an angle but the goal is to get all of this thick edge. You'll see a little bit of scale around here, and you want to get all of that off. Okay, now as you can see, we're starting to get that rough edge off all the way around. And I just wanted to show you one thing, that the learning curve was a little strong on here. When you're striking this thing, you're holding it at a little bit of an angle. And you're not really trying to hit the glass with the top of this. After you do a few of these, this end starts to get really roughed up. And it becomes real abrasive. If you just scratch it down the side, you'll get these little small pieces, these little small flakes will come off. I know that's hard to see. The sun is driving me nuts out here. But that's what you want. You want this little small stuff. Here, let me move this in a little bit. See, it's almost like powder, jewels, like little diamond dust. That's what you want to get off of there. The slower you go, the better you can start shaping it. Now, to start shaping this up, you can keep going the way you are, but you can also take this piece of copper and start just grinding it down the side, nice and easy, to start making it into a triangle. And we'll do that next. Okay, now let's take a look at the progression of our work. We started out with this after the bottle, then we start shaping it, but we still got a lot of curvature to it. Then we start narrowing it down and starting to take some of the curve out. Then we start our pressure flaking and really start working on that curve and starting to sharpen up the points. Then we start working on taking small flakes all the way around, and then finally we start doing our final shaping on the arrowhead. We'll finish these up, put some little places in here to help us attach them. Okay, I'm going to try to show you how I do this pressure flaking. First, I take my arrowhead and I scrape up this edge, and I do that until I can see the platforms on each side. The platforms are just areas like this or like this that you can put your pressure flaker on and push and pop a section off. I put that rubber pad in the palm of my hand, supporting it, and then place the pressure flaker on a joint, and I push down and in at the same time. It's hard to do at this angle, but once you try it a few times, you'll kind of get the idea. You can also use your antler. I prefer the copper. Copper seems to work best for everything. Okay guys, well that's not a complete description of how to make these glass arrowheads, but it at least gives you a head start. I probably went through 25 or 30 bottles before I ever got a good shape. A lot of that was trying to figure out what kind of bottle to use. Beer bottles seem to work the best. The darker tinted ones and the flatter bottoms also seem to help a lot. Also, going to copper and getting away from the primitive tools helped a lot. I hope this helps you out as you work on your different projects. I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft. Thanks for joining me again, and God bless.